All right, before we begin, let's thank our sponsors. Inspect All Pest Services, providing the highest quality termite pest and wildlife control. But that's not all. Inspect All Pest Services will take care of your insulation, pressure washing, gutter maintenance, and other home services in Metro Atlanta and the surrounding areas. InspectAllServices.com. Big thanks to the Aurora Law Firm. That'd be one Mad Dog Manny Aurora and Pew Pew. The AuroraLawFirm.com litigates all of the United States, based out of Georgia, whether it's criminal defense, white-collar crime, DUI, drug offenses, appeals, and more. That would be the Aurora Law Firm. Ridgeline Counseling, Dr. David Markwell and his therapist. 3 locations in Georgia, one across from Sprayberry High School in Sandy Plains and East Cobb. Marietta near the square in McKaysville, just outside of Blue Ridge. But the good doctor can talk to you wherever you are at with a virtual session. Schedule that today via markwelltherapy.com or email him directly, ridgelinecounseling@gmail.com. FPC Insurance, perfect for new homeowners, or if you're just looking to reshop those current insurance policies, which is never a bad idea. 5-star service, shop over 35 A-rated companies, multi-policy bundle discounts. They'll help you shop for carriers to find insurance for your house, flood, auto, motorcycle, boat, recreational vehicle, or even a personal policy. 888-308-1841. You can always get a quote online, FBCInsuranceServices.com. Alternate Power Solutions of Georgia, family owned and operated. They are a Generac generator dealer offering sales, service, installation, and repair of automatic home standby and portable generators. Never lose power again. They're the best at what they do, hands down, no doubt about it. Every customer at Alternate Power Solutions gets an upgraded warranty, free monitoring with a service contract. They offer flexible financing, semi-annual and annual service contracts for existing installations, and warranty repair. A-plus rating with the BB&B. Call or request a free home assessment. You can do that by calling 770-853-7571 or go to poweringgeorgia.com. Don't forget the discount code Bailey, my last name, Bailey, for $500 off your entire installation, servicing Georgia and Tennessee. Jayco Contracting, gutter and roofing specialist. Give Cliff Bratcher a call. Two-peer Cliff Bratcher. This is the hardest working guy in the business and the most trustworthy. 770-316-3876. He works every day of the year. Don't worry about it. He's got you. Licensed and insured roofing and gutter specialist covering all of Georgia. They are a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning, the creator of the Pink Panther, not the you know what I mean. Free gutter guards with the purchase of a roof. Satisfaction guaranteed, commercial and residential. JaycoContracting.com. And, of course, Cliff Bratcher, 770-316-3876. And Live Ozone Therapy Spa, Central Florida's first and only ozone therapy spa, also offering red light therapy, presotherapy, halo therapy, PEMF, and also chromiotherapy, plus many ozone-infused products online like the magnesium butter. You can go to liveozoneTherapySpa.com to book your appointment or to purchase any of those products. And for all 2 peers, if you use the code BS10, you get a 10% discount at checkout. All right, if you want to be a sponsor of the show, please reach out to me via thebaileyshow.com. Let's have a conversation, see how the BS podcast can help your brand. All right, let's begin.
What do we want to talk about?
To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Welcome to the Bailey Show podcast. A guy show women love to listen to.
Intellectually immature nonsense.
That's BS.
That's BS.
That's BS.
That's BS.
Okay, then, let's do it.
All right, there it is, episode 315 of the BS. Thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey. Right there, that's the iron-fisted one, Chuck Lunsford. Hello, Chuck.
What's up, man? Times are changing. 58 and a half inch TVs on sale at Walmart right now for $248.
What an odd size. I've never even heard of a 58 and a half inch television.
That might be the reason, but it's a Hisense and it's ready for purchase.
Yeah, that was like, well, this size didn't work out marketing wise. I've never, ever, I swear to God, I've never heard of a 58 and a half inch.
Me neither, but the price was right. So my kid is 10 and he's got the biggest TV like in the world. But whatever, dude, $250.
There's the B-Man, Brandon Thrasher. Hello, B-Man.
Yo, if Chuck was a ninja, his name would be Dumb Chuck. That on the way back from the gas station, eating my beef jerky.
That's a good one. That's a dad joke, dude. That's good. I like that.
You're so stupid. Like before we came on, I told you that my sister or my wife and her sister, their birthdays are 3 days apart. And you said, how's that possible? And then you said, oh, wait, it was different years.
And then you proceeded to tell me how different it was. You're like, why'd you ask that? You fell for it.
It wasn't a joke. Don't act like you fell for it. Like that was you being dumb. Like how are they born 3 days apart and they're not twins?
You know, I just realized. So when we record these episodes, I mean, I'm a dipper, Chuck's a dipper, Brandon sometimes is a dipper. So like when I spit, I go off camera and I duck out of camera, you know, just so I'm not spitting in your face or whatnot, but the cup's over here, whatever. So I guess
as he does it,
because I do. So I guess I just don't, it's like second nature to me. It's who I am. It's what I do. I'm sorry. But I didn't realize what it looked like on camera. And it just made me realize. So the other day, you know, that cult I talk about, I joined this BNI networking, which by the way, it's worldwide. I say it's a cult because I'm joking, but it's really good. I didn't think I was going to like it. I didn't think I would enjoy it, but I actually really enjoy it. I enjoy meeting these people. You know, part of it is doing these one-to-ones and getting to know about their business and they get to know about your business, and it's all about referrals, right? I actually enjoy it. So I did this one-to-one the other day with this woman who actually I might have on this show. She's got a very interesting occupation. She's not a divorce attorney. I forget the exact title, but she's like a divorce mitigator, right? So she's a behavioral analyst, right? That'd be right. And she's got all these other different degree or certificates, and she like mitigates these divorces so you don't have to go to court. Like her gimmick is the 2-hour divorce. And I'm like, this is brilliant. And so as I'm doing this one-to-one with her, we're doing it on Zoom. She's telling me her backstory, how, you know, her first divorce, it was so bad and this and this and that she got into this business, and what drove her, which I have mad respect for when, you know, you have a catalyst of why you do what we do. I mean, one of the reasons why we have a live ozone therapy spa is because Rachel, when she had, you know, her lady part cancer and then her hormones were all over the place and trying to find ways to sleep, you know, she learned about the ozone therapy and then the magnesium butter and so on and so forth. So anyway, the point of me telling you that story is I'm not a corporate guy. I'm not even very professional. And I know it's hard to believe. So when I'm in front of my computer, 9 out of 10 times, I have a dip in my mouth. So I have a dip in my mouth getting ready to do this one-to-one with her. And I realize right before it starts that that's not very professional, that I should not have a dip in my mouth. I'm trying to impress this one. Plus, I'm promoting a health spa on top of that, right? It was too late. She pops on, and I've got this dip in my mouth. I'm like, oh, Jesus. So this is how it would look as we're talking. You know, she's talking. I'd wait, you know, just kind of as I would do on the radio. I'd go through a can of show. And Brandon and everybody I worked with knew when I went down to dip, it's your turn to talk. Like, that's how I programmed and trained everybody. Brandon knows that, right? Brandon, you know that. Yeah, like what?
Yep. Hey, look at that. Chuck looks gay.
Okay, see? He knows to fill in the gap. So we're doing this one-to-one, and we're more than 30 minutes into this conversation. Great conversation. And she laughs, and she goes, what do you keep ducking out of the camera for? No one's ever said that to me. No one's ever asked me, like, called me out. And I was like, oh, I got a drink down here. And she goes, so you don't bring the drink up to you? And I said, no, I just think it's weird to drink in front of people. I don't know.
Oh, you lied. You lied about it.
Yeah. See,
oh, it's terrible. What you need to do is what I do, man. You like this coffee cup is full of coffee right now, but when it's empty and I have a dip in, I just go like this.
I like how it says dad and not like number one dad. It's just dad.
It says 1 in a million dad, jerk.
Oh, they put that real small on there, didn't they?
I mean, you know how many dad coffee cups I have? It's like the only thing they give away for Christmas at school. It's stupid.
Do you know how many dad coffee cups I gave to my biological father?
None.
2.
A bunch. I just don't know if he ever got them because I didn't have an address.
He just drops them in the mail. Dad.
Dad, Maryland.
Dad, Maryland. There's all these dads like, what the hell?
Then I'd make a note to the the mail guy. I'd be like, if you find him, will you let me know?
It's like the saddest story ever.
A bunch of coffee cups at the USPS up there in Maryland.
So anyway, I guess that's what it looks like. Anyway, to the girl. Before I get to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, since it's a Free Bay episode, a lot of you listening right now, not subscribers of the BS podcast, shame on you. Hopefully I can buy, your ears. So we're doing a rolling promotion, rolling meaning it's happening every month until it stops. You can win as much and as many times as you'd like, just as long as you're a subscriber of the podcast, which means you get to unlock all the episodes. I mean, we have episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then there's hundreds of episodes prior that you can listen to. So if that's of any interest to you and you're into content, you're a big podcast listener, maybe you're in the car a lot, you dig what we do, you just listen to the Free Bay episodes and the Honey episodes, please subscribe. It helps us out. Obviously, it helps the business. So if you go to thebaileyshow.com, there's a button right there. It says subscribe. You just fill out the information real quick, put your credit card in. It's $4.99 a month. It'll get taken out automatically. And then your email will be on a list that I have. And that's all I have access to is emails. So once a month, I'll put it through the super secret special Super Mario Brother winner wheel finder guy. And I'll even video it. And then you'll have 24 hours to reach out to me. I have decided that I will email you because I can't put your full email and I don't know your name. So I don't think it has your name. So I'll email you. I'll post it on all of our socials, which you should be following us anyway at Listen to the BS. And then you'll have 24 hours to get in touch with me. And once you do and prove that it's you, then you get $100. It's just that simple. $100. Win Bailey's booty. Win Bailey's booty. It's a good promotion. It's an easy promotion. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominations, which seems like they're always released like every month, just released the other day. Did you guys see the list?
I saw a few of them.
I have not yet.
Bad Company, the Black Crowes, Joe Cocker, and Billy Idol are among the artists nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction for the first time this year. They're joined on the list by fellow rookies, Chubby Checker, Mana.
That's crazy to me. Crazy.
You know that guy?
Well,
Chubby Checker?
Hold on before you dig in. Mexican pop rockers Mana, Outkast, and Fish. The field of 14 nominees are filled out by 6 artists who have been nominated but not inducted in recent years. Mariah Carey and Oasis were both nominated last year, while Joy Division / New Order, Cyndi Lauper and the White Stripes, and Soundgarden were most recently nominated in 2023. Soundgarden was also nominated in 2020. Last year, Mary J. Blige, Cher, Dave Matthews Band, Foreigner, Peter Frampton, Kool and the Gang, Ozzy Osbourne, and A Tribe Called Quest were inducted into the Rock as Performers. So why does Chubby Checker blow you away out of all of those?
I mean, Chubby Checker should have been in years and years and years ago. You listen to that, you look at that list. Billy Idol surprising to me that he's not already in. I mean, he's done it, right? Like he should have been in quickly. But Chubby Checker, you're like, I mean, Chubby Checker's gone. Like when you're that big of an artist for that long, and to this day, we all know who Chubby Checker is, right? So that was surprising to me that he's even on it. The rest of them, I get it. And you talked about like Oasis. I mean, really, nobody can name more than 2 Oasis songs. Nobody. Okay, I've got a lot to say about this, but Chubby Checker, I agree with. I mean, the dude's literally got a song called Rock Around the Clock, right? I agree with you on Chubby Checker. So Oasis, I'm not a huge Oasis fan, but when they just released that the brothers miraculously were able to put their issues aside and go out on tour right before they were nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that's just crazy how that works out. Same with think about it, the Black Crowes, they were able to put their differences, and I've interviewed both brothers and they're great. They're great interviews, both of them. It's
it shows you how much of a work the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame really is.
Well, but where does Fish come in?
All right. So Fish, I can't stand Fish. That's just my own personal preference. And I know there's a lot of Fish fans out there. Just they're the jam band of jam bands, right?
Well, do you like the band Primus?
I don't mind the band Primus. I'm not a huge Primus fan.
Because that's where when I see Fish, right? Once you go that genre, which again, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they kind of broaden what they consider.
Fish is no Primus.
No, but I'm saying they have a cult following. Like, it's not a mainstream band that you listen to the radio and people are like, "Oh, I love Fish."
Fish is a Matthews genre.
Yeah. And see, Primus always had that. They had like a cult following of people that love them. But if you go back, even any of you, and you listen to Primus today, they're terrible. Like, absolutely terrible. But yet they sold millions upon millions of records because of their following. And that's where Fish is at. That's why I'm like, if you start letting these bands in like Fish, you have to let the Primuses in. You have to let oh my God, and I can't remember the name of it. It's a band that has a cult following like the Grateful Dead. Everybody loves them.
Dave Matthews.
No, it's a big band, but they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're not that big, but they are.
A Widespread Panic.
Oh my God, how did you know that? That's exactly what I'm saying. They're not good.
They're Georgia guys, aren't they?
They have a cult following. They should never be into the rock. Anybody with a cult following should not be allowed in. Gone.
So let me talk about the Fish thing real quick. With the way the world is, when you get dinged for something as bad as this, right? And Mike Gordon is the Fish bassist, and he was arrested in, I believe it was 2003 on charges of child. Have you guys heard this story? Do you know the story?
No.
Not about them.
Okay. So when I saw the nominations come out, that was the first thing I thought of. And I had to research the story because I didn't remember the whole story, but I remember when it happened, and it was very odd because when it happened, it was like Fish bassist, child endangerment, pedophilia kind of story. And then it just kind of went away. And I'm like, that's just weird. Anybody else of name, and I'm not saying Mike Gordon's a name, but the band, easy target for the news, easy target for people like saying, hey, look, this is corrupt. Just kill everything. Right. You can't do that. I went to go find this story. It is a very tough story to find. This is might be one of the best kept secrets, hidden stories in rock and roll history. Try to research Fish bassist Mike Gordon arrested.
Well, was he charged, or was he just arrested and the charges were dropped?
Okay. So here's where it gets really, really interesting. And I'm going to tell you the story. All right. I'm going to read the story. Arrested Monday, August 11th. I'm assuming 2003, because that's when the story was written, on charges of child endangerment after he was found with a 9-year-old girl in a secluded boathouse during a show by the Dead in Jones Beach, New York. Now, according to the statement released by Major Richard O'Donnell of the New York State Police, Gordon was charged with a misdemeanor count of child endangerment and trespassing. The arrest was a result of a complaint by the mother of a 9-year-old girl. The mother became concerned when she could not locate her daughter in the backstage area. So this 9-year-old was backstage at this concert. This guy, Mike Gordon, took this 9-year-old to a boathouse. Okay, follow me so far? The uninjured child, this story gets better. The uninjured child was reunited with her family shortly after Gordon's arrest. According to New York's WNBC television, Gordon told police that he was taking, quote unquote, art photos of the girl. Now, the girl's father, who along with Gordon was an invited guest backstage, her father has been identified as a leader of a Hells Angels chapter. Gordon is reported to have been held by venue security and members of the motorcycle club until police arrived, with WNBC adding that the Angels were not gentle with the sensitive areas of the rock star's body. Charges were later dropped and nothing happened. Okay.
Damn.
They had discussions, and so it's not clear to all involved that this was an unfortunate misunderstanding, and we look forward to putting this matter behind us. Go and search for that story and end up like down a rabbit hole, like on Reddit. Like how it reads is that the Hells Angels, rightfully so, beat the shit out of him. And that was the punishment enough. Right.
And then he just didn't pursue charges against them. And then they just dropped the charges against him and they moved on. That's pretty bad. Like, even if the charges were dropped, everything he did to get to that situation where the charges would be dropped.
Yeah.
That's enough. That should keep that band out of contention for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right. That back to my point is that in the world that we live in, charged or not charged, the story still stands. And there's been many careers and many reputations that have been ruined by much worse in the same, bubble. You know what I mean?
I think some size, like depending on the size of the band, who was the band they played halftime one year? Their I think it was the bass guitar player again. He had the same type of issues. It's a huge band. Huge.
Maroon 5?
No, it's a classic rock band. Jason would know it. Their bass guitar player had like sexual assault allegations against minors when he was younger, and they went on to play the Super Bowl. I don't know. Oh my God, dude. Are you serious?
What year?
You should know that. It was like 2014. I'm looking it up.
Chili Peppers?
Who?
Chili Peppers?
No, it was like a band as old as like the Grateful Dead. Like one of those type of bands. They're huge. They're one of the greatest selling bands of all time. Not Van Halen, not Led Zeppelin. Oh my God. Who? That's it.
Who?
The Who. The Who. So I think it was their bass guitar player. He was, and this is when I think it was the same situation with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's known for his inventive style comment. It's not oh my God, dude.
I've never even heard the story, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
But again, I'm surprised. You know what I mean? I'm surprised. And then the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, to their credit, because they mix it up and they put in people like Mary J. Blige or Cyndi Lauper or, it's like Cher. And then you go, okay, so what is rock? I've interviewed the president of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I believe the way he describes the Hall of Fame is rock and roll is a term just really for music. It's everyone that it's associated with. So in most people, like if you're a rocker, your perception of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame would be rock musicians. But look at, the Grammys and all these award shows, people that are winning rock awards. You know what I mean? It's not the rock that we know. Rock and roll, I don't even know what the definition is of rock anymore, to be completely honest with you. Country's going through the same thing right now too.
So I figured it, I got it. So it was back in January 13th, 2003. It was Peter Townsend. And he was arrested for
I do remember that.
For having all this child pornography on his computer. And when they arrested him, he admitted, he said, I'm not a pedophile. I was visiting all these sites for research.
Yeah.
And then he ended up paying a large sum of money to the families of other accusers, and it all went away. Yeah. And then they played the Super Bowl. And it's like, dude, if I admit that I was on a child pornography website, I don't care if it's for research or not. I should probably be excluded from not only playing the Super Bowl, but being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And so the Who is probably the largest one that I think.
Well, look at what just happened in this past Super Bowl. I mean, everybody was watching if you knew anything about Kendrick Lamar, because they just wanted to hear him call Drake a pedophile.
And he did.
And like, out of all the beefs that have ever happened in music history, I didn't even know this was a thing. Like, I'm so out of the loop, and nor do I care if Kendrick Lamar and Drake hate each other, or Serena Williams or the chick with 3 letters. Like, I don't care. Like, they're trying to make it a thing. This Kendrick Lamar Drake Super Bowl beef or whatever they have, they're trying to make it a Biggie Tupac thing, and I don't understand it. I just can't get involved in it. Like, I've heard, like, it took the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary Will Ferrell skit for me to understand that the song A minor means like A minor, like age, not the chord.
Oh God.
Oh, I didn't know
Oh,
that.
it's not like us. Yeah. Come on now, get with it.
Is
Well,
Kendrick Lamar
you-
and what's his name? The guy he's fighting with?
Drake.
Are they hard? Are they hard, Brandon? Like, are they hardcore? Like, would they be like Biggie and Tupac? Are they more like R. Kelly and,
I mean,
Keith Sweat?
They're two big names in the industry. I mean, Drake put Kendrick on all those years ago, and Drake's the biggest, I would say, rap. He's not a street rapper. He's not.
But
like
are they hard? I'm saying, are they hardcore?
No, not really. No. I mean, some of Drake's older, they got some songs, but Kendrick's more like melody stuff and wordplay, and then Drake's just he wants to play gangster, but he's not. But he writes good songs. But this thing you're talking about Biggie and Tupac. Y'all liked it better because you were younger. This is for the younger crowd. Y'all are older now.
I think
so
if Biggie and Tupac were actually like gangsta, like they were actually like from the streets, like Drake. And I'm asking because they just strike me as the type of music they do. Like they're like raised in the suburbs, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna kick your ass, man, and like, oh, you A minor. I mean, I don't get it. Like, it's not coming from the right genre of rap. And that's like what I'm talking about with Keith Sweat and R. Kelly. Jason knows, like back in the day.
Keith Sweat.
Yeah, like that they're not hard.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like they were like, oh, like they just want to sing songs.
I think the analogies that Chuck's trying to tell you, Brandon, and I agree with him. Like if you look at the beef with Biggie and Tupac, like we knew somebody was going to die. Like we were waiting for it, right? With Drake and Kendrick Lamar, like I don't know nothing about it, and again, nor do I care. But it strikes me as like a parking lot argument and
yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like if Biggie were to come on the Super Bowl when y'all were kids, you'd be like, oh hell yeah, or Tupac, one of the two. Your parents would be like, man, fuck this shit. What is this? I don't give a damn about what these guys are talking about, shooting each other. I don't care. I think it's the same thing now. Now, Kendrick and Lamar are not, I mean, Kendrick and Drake aren't trying to kill each other, but there's plenty of rappers out there that do try to kill each other. Like King Von got killed, who Manny represented. Fulio killed him. I mean, there's real street beef still out there with some big names, but it's not these two. They're just good.
Was the name was the name you just said a big name?
King Von?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you go to O Block in Chicago, ask around.
Okay, that's not a big name.
No, it's huge. Ask anybody that listens to rap if they know King Von, Lil Durk.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm sure you're right. I just don't care.
See, exactly.
I appreciate it that you care, but I just don't care.
You know why me and Jason bought rap albums when we were younger?
Because you were kids.
No, because we knew the artists were going to die soon. We had to get it out. We had to get it before they died. And sure enough, guess what? They died.
It's real. It's really like if you take a step back, like with any common sense, and you look at these guys killing each other over song, like whatever their problems are, it's laughable. Like really, you're dying at like 21 years old, and you're spending the rest of your life in jail at 21 years old because that guy called you a duty face in a song. I mean, really? I mean, that's. I mean, you somehow have millions of dollars. And you just threw it all away just because somebody called you a duty face in a song. And that's silly. Like, man, I need respect. Okay, well, earn your respect. And why don't you ignore the guy and move on with your life? And I understand it sells albums and the beat. I just don't think that world works like it used to work. I'm not saying it doesn't work at all, but it doesn't work the way it used to work. I mean, a lot of those beefs back in the day were fabricated, to sell albums. I mean, that's, Source even, I believe, came out and talked about how they were fabricating a lot of the beefs with the different rappers and stuff. But when you have legit heat between the two, I mean, go to the rock part of things. When was it? What award show was it? That was it Vince Neil? Well, I remember Kid Rock and Tommy Lee. And they almost got into it when Kid Rock showed up with Pamela Anderson. And then there was Vince Neil. Was it Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses? I think that was a beef at one time, and they said something on the mic when they got up and they're all drunk and stoned, and you get sucked in because it's like reality television and whatnot. But anyway, back to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Bad Company, sure, why not? The Black Crowes, it scratches my soul that these artists that I remember coming out are now going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I hate it. It makes me feel old. You know what I mean? Joe Cocker, sure. Billy Idol, ironically enough, Billy Idol launches this big tour with Joan Jett right before he's nominated. Crazy how that works. Chubby Checker, I get it. Mexican pop rockers, Mana, I don't understand. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
Check the box.
Right. Exactly. I thought we were getting rid of this stuff. Outcast. I like Outcast. Atlanta's very own, right? Again, there's that argument, and then you're checking the box again because they have to put in a rap artist. Fish, hell no, cannot stand that. And then the story I just told, I'm really surprised that they put them in there. You know what I mean?
That chubby checker fellow made me think of old Cracker Barrel. You
Chubby-
got Checker, and you got
in the 80s,
Food.
you had the Fat Boys and Chubby Checker. I think that was the last, Chubby Checker and the Fat Boys. We're doing the twist. We're the Fat Boys and we're going nowhere. Remember that?
Brandon has
No.
no idea what you're talking.
no clue.
He didn't even know that he did that. Chubby Checker sang the twist.
Chubby Checker and the Fat Boys.
You know what song that is, right, Brandon?
No.
Let's
That's
twist again, like we did last summer. Let's twist again,
Everybody's
like
doing
we
it.
did last year. You know what I mean?
No, I never heard it.
Oh my god,
That was enough for me too.
it's a really good song. You should
Yeah.
listen to it.
Chubby Checker is the man, dude.
Didn't you say Mariah Carey?
I did.
Santa Claus coming to town, or
I don't
whatever
feel
it
good
is.
about that one.
And Ozzy got in last year. I'll tell you a little secret about Ozzy, and I can't tell you everything because I just can't. But so you saw that Ozzy Black Sabbath doing one last show in London or in England, somewhere in the UK, right? It's a big to do. Ozzy can't walk.
Yeah.
Okay. Ozzy Sharon, I should say. Well, actually, it started with Jack. Reached out to someone to help him walk. And there are, don't be surprised. This will be really cool if it happens because I know the person that they reached out to can help Ozzy. And I told that person, I said, dude, if you don't do this, you're crazy.
Is it Rachel? Is it a live ozone therapy spa?
Right. Ozzy's coming in. Yeah.
They contacted Rachel, like, don't tell Jason.
But the backstory, I don't know how much I can say, but the backstory is about 8 or 9 months ago when they were planning this last hurrah for Ozzy. They reached out to somebody, Jack Osbourne reached out to somebody that I know and asked for help and said, hey, look, my dad can't walk. And I know you can help my dad. And so they might be working together over the next however many months to get Ozzy, because Ozzy does not want to, he said, he goes, I do not want to perform unless I can stand up. So
Just out of curiosity, what's his illness or ailment that's got him in a wheelchair?
life.
Oh, okay. So it's not like injury or something like that. It's like,
Well, he's in really bad shape. I mean, we don't have much, I think, time left with Ozzy. He's in really bad shape and he falls often. And so it's bad. It makes you really sad to hear, the stuff that I know and the stuff that I hear, because it's the Prince of Darkness, man. I mean, he's the ultimate rock star. It's Ozzy freaking Osbourne, man. He's snorting ants. He's biting heads off bats.
he made it way longer than anybody thought he would.
I'm surprised he's still here.
I mean, that dude, that's like Keith Richards, the day Keith Richards died, people aren't going to be like, oh my gosh, really? They're going to be like, that was a good run.
But don't be surprised if that event gets canceled if Ozzy can't stand, because he's made it perfectly clear. I don't think publicly, but he's made it perfectly clear that he's not performing unless he can stand up.
Why don't they hook him up to those cables that Pink uses?
Well, do what they did with Mick Mars. Mick Mars couldn't stand on that tour, before he got fired from the band. No, it was the tour before, I believe. He was in really bad shape. They legit, I was there. I went on every one of those tours. I saw him. They propped him up. He had metal, like he had this thing behind him that he leaned up against to play guitar.
Like, is that frowned upon? Like, why wouldn't Ozzy do that?
I think Ozzy wants to go out as much as Ozzy was at the beginning. I get it. It's different if you're, Dave Grohl or Axl Rose, that you break your leg and you get put in a throne. You still want to go out there and sing and do your thing. People know that you're going to get better and they're going to see you on another tour and you're going to be running around and being a rock star. That's cool. But when you're Ozzy Osbourne and your time is ticking, unfortunately, and you're like, this is the last image that anybody's going to see. I mean, think about the last time we saw Johnny Cash when he redid Trent Reznor's Hurt, right? And he's in that throne in the music video. He's not up. You know, I mean, that's like, that's one of those situations where the guy did the song better than the original, in my opinion, just because that was his swan song. June had, I believe, just passed or was almost getting ready to pass, you know, and then he passed shortly after that song was released. I mean, they know, you know, they're like, all right, we got to do this. But if everything from what I understand happens, if it does get greenlit and this person works with Ozzy, it'll all be documented, of course. And we'll get to see that, which I think is cool. And I'm really rooting for this person and both people. And I'm really hoping that it happens. So when I find out, hopefully I'll be able to.
If he comes to a live Ozone Therapy, let me know. I want backstage.
Backstage at a live.
Yeah. I'll be back there in the near the Hocket. Like, what's up, dude?
Room 7.
Yeah.
Just standing there looking out. I thought there's a guy in there. Yeah, it's backstage.
I'm waiting for Poison to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Look, if all these other artists can get in, you can't talk about 80s glam rock without Bret Michaels and Poison.
Well, I think there's a list of names that if they came out, you'd be like, really? They're not in yet. And that's one of them. Like Poison's one of them. I'm glad, obviously Guns N' Roses made it. That was a no-brainer. But there's just, I mean, you look at some of those names and you're like, really? How is that person in and that person's not in?
Right.
Like I'm even rooting for Skid Row. I mean, I love Skid Row.
Well, that would give them a reason to get back together, which will never happen.
If you ever hear Sebastian talking about, yeah, we're getting back together, you know it's coming. Go to Vegas, put your money on Skid.
Yeah, and if you ever hear Snake talk about it, he's like, hell will have to freeze over before that ever happens. We would hire a person without a tongue before we got back together with Sebastian Bach.
How's that going to work with Soundgarden?
Well, they could use, the same way they did it with Nirvana. They would bring up different artists to sing the songs. Like Post Malone, I thought did a pretty good job for Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary of doing Nirvana stuff, which I knew was a big treat for him because he's such a diehard Kurt Cobain fan. I thought that was a pretty cool moment. They during the Fire Relief, Dave Grohl, that was the first appearance that we had seen him since he had the, kid outside of the marriage with him and Jordan and all that stuff. He brought up his daughter, Violet, who knocked it out of the park, which I thought was interesting. Chris Cornell's daughter, she could do it. If you bring up the daughters that are very talented artists, Eddie Vedder's daughter, I think her name's Olivia, amazing singer, amazing. Have her come up and do some Soundgarden songs.
Well, was Eddie Vedder in Soundgarden? Or was he, because they were in, what's it, Dogs? Something Dogs.
Temple?
Yeah. Temple of the Dog.
Temple of the Dog.
Was Eddie Vedder in Soundgarden as well?
No, so Temple of the Dog was before, I believe, I'm going to get beat up on this. So Temple of the Dog was first.
With Chris Cornell and Eddie Vedder.
Chris Cornell, Eddie Vedder, I believe Stone Gossard. So I believe Pearl Jam formed from that. Because then you go back and you've got all these different, like Mother Love Bone is the godfathers of grunge, right? You go Mother Love Bone with Andrew Wood, and they had a lot of glam in them. And he dies very young age, but it all spawns. Then you have all these different bands. If you look at like the grunge tree, it's really cool. They're kind of intertwining. You've got Temple of the Dog, you've got Mad Season, with Lane, and you've got all these different bands that then they morphed into their own band, into their own thing. And then the record labels obviously grabbed them. Pearl Jam being the face of grunge. Even, I know everybody wants to argue Nirvana, but even Kurt Cobain has said publicly, he's like, Pearl Jam is grunge. Pearl Jam is grunge. Even though Eddie Vedder is not from Aberdeen, he's not from Seattle, he's from Chicago. Kurt Cobain has said in interviews, he's like, Pearl Jam has the best songs. Compared to Nirvana, they blow us away. He said that publicly. You argue between the two. and then you can obviously throw in Soundgarden, you can throw in Alice in Chains, and then all those other things, and then it kind of stems off from there. So anyway, so that's the nominees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, if you care.
Yeah.
Yay.
Screwfish. Now that I know they're pedophile. Pedophile on board.
Fish. That's why you don't go backstage, Chuck. That's why you don't go backstage.
Well, I'm not 9, so.
But your daughter is.
I'm not trying to get my kid back there. I'm sure.
You did. You said Laney Wilson.
I only go to the safe ones, dog. Carter wanted to go see Dropkick Murphys. They're going to be in Atlanta March 4th. And what Dropkicks do, like they literally, they're really good. But if they see a kid with a sign that says like my first concert, like they'll send the security out, they'll grab the kid. So every time I've gone backstage with Dropkick Murphys, there's always a bunch of kids back there. And like, they're just like, boozing, hanging out. Kids are getting autographs, pictures. And my son's like, dude, Dad, I really want to go. And I'm like, nah, I used to go backstage when I was a different man. I don't want my son to go. I don't want to go back there now as a dad. You know what I mean? It's like a totally different vibe when you got your kid with you. So
Where you're at, dude, you're a dad.
I know. That's why I'm not going backstage with my kid.
You just send him back there by himself?
No, I'm not going to take him backstage. I'm not going to let him go. I don't know.
I think the only quote unquote backstage party sex moment that I can think of that I was 6 degrees from was Sum 41. When they first started, I got a friend of mine tickets, her and her sister, and she was extremely attractive. And I got her tickets to the show. I didn't go. So earlier that day, they played this show at Disney in like the band shell with like Pink. It was some concert thing, and they both the artists were up and coming. Then later that night, they had a bigger gig at the House of Blues, I think it was, and she asked me to get her tickets. I said, yeah, sure, no problem, I can get you tickets. So I got her tickets, and she ended up getting backstage. So later on that night, I get a phone call. And I pick up the phone, and because I told her, I said, hey, look, check in with me, because I think I had introduced them earlier when I had met them. She was with me, and they might have asked if she was coming to the show, or it was like one of those types of things. And I just said to her, I go, be careful, just be careful. I just had a feeling, be careful. She's like, oh, I'm fine. I said, just check in with me later on that night. Just let me know everything's going okay. So it's probably like around midnight. I was downtown Orlando. And she calls me and she's like, hey, Bucket or Jason, I'm just checking in with you. Everything's going great. And I was like, oh, great. How was the show? She's like, good. We're still hanging out with them. Mm-hmm. And then I hear, give me the phone. And he goes, hey, is this Buckethead? And I said, yeah, who's this? He goes, this is Derek, lead singer. I said, hey, man, how you doing? He goes, something like, what kind of dumb name is Buckethead? Or so, no. He goes, Buckethead rhymes with fuckethead, which I had never heard, right? Jesus. And I said, oh, that's funny because Sum 41 sounds like Blink 182. And he picked up on me.
So did she end up staying the night with him?
She said nothing happened. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's true or not.
It's not true. Were you dating her at the time?
We were hanging out.
Why would you get her tickets backstage to Sum 41 or any band if you're hanging out?
I mean, it wasn't like that. I think we were hanging out, then we stopped hanging out, then we were friends, and I was hanging out with somebody else.
Well, were you having love with her?
That's my term, having love. No, I never had love with her.
Yeah, you did.
No love had.
No. I don't think
you lost your girlfriend to Sum 41. And people are like, who stole your girlfriend? You're like, damn, Blink 182 ripoffs.
All those bands were like that. I remember like SR-71 did the same thing actually with my first wife before we had just started dating. And we had a concert with them. And SR-71, very similar, the pop punky type of thing. And she was a promo girl at the radio station, and they were all like, some of the promo girls were star bangers, but they would all travel in packs. So I'm out there doing my whatever thing, and they decided to, I think, go like on the bus, and they of course hit on her. She's a very attractive girl. It was like, what am I supposed to do? You know, I can't go beat up the guy that's headlining the show. You know, I mean, it's kind of. So what I did later in life, years later, the guy ends up dating the really pretty Asian girl that was in Scorpion King. You know who I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, not Lisa Lou or Lucy Lou.
No, I don't know what her name is, but she's very nice, very sweet. And I remember interviewing her, and she was dating that guy. And I said, "You still dating?" Blah blah blah. She goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Can I just tell you the guy's a dick?" I was like, "That was my receipt." She was like, and she laughed, and she goes, "Why do you say that?" And I told her the story, and she's like, "Oh, you know, those boys, those." And I was like, "Not cool, dude, not cool."
I lost a girl to an artist one time, and it's the saddest story in history. I went to a country music festival, and you know who Gary Allen is?
Nope.
He's a country music singer.
Yeah, about watching airplanes fly away.
Yeah. So we went and watch, and then I meet this girl, dude, and she's beautiful. And like, she's single, I'm single. It's early 2000s, and I'm like, oh man, this chick's like, she's next level. So we exchange numbers, and I'm like, oh man. And she's like, so after the show, she's like, hey, we should go back there where all the tour buses are at and see if we can see anybody. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go with you. I'm like, let's do it. You know? So we go back there, and he's got his bus, and it's got his name on it, and nobody's there except for like a security guard guy. And so I walk up, because I'm like, you know, trying to get this girl to like me. I say, hey man, like, is Gary on the bus? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, can we say hi to him? And he's like, she can. And I was like, I said, oh, that's cool, you know? So I'm like, hey, you want to go say hi to Gary Allen? Like, I think I'm totally like big league, and like, I'm so cool, you know, like I'm getting her on the bus. She's like, I would love that. So she gets on the bus, and I'm standing there, dude, all alone, like at the door, like me and the security guard. And like 10 minutes turns into 20 minutes, and like 20 minutes turns into 45 minutes. And I was like, hey man, is it cool, like, just to ask her like if she's done? Cause like I you know, I'm waiting on her. And he's like, well, how do you know her? I'm like, she's my friend. He's like, is it your girlfriend? I said, no, I just met her at the concert. And he's like, yeah, dude, I'd probably just leave if I were you. And I was like, what? Dude, she never came off the bus. She was on the bus for 45 minutes at least. And then I walk away, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, what did I just do? Like, this could have been my my love of my life. And I just gave her to Gary Allen, and he did what he did with her, you know? So I never saw her again.
I don't think Gary Allen's a very attractive man, is he?
I know. And I lost her to Gary Allen. So embarrassing.
You take shots at me for introducing a girl to the guys in Sum 41 and accusing me of losing my girl to Sum 41, which you thought was hilarious. You actually stood outside the door of some dude named Gary Allen in the country music world while he's nailing the girl that you're trying to take home. And you have the audacity to come at me when you lost, like, not only did you lose her, but you supervised a Gary Allen nailing at probably some state fair.
It was. But in fairness, it was 45 minutes before I realized what was happening. And I didn't see it coming. Like, it was a good transition on Gary's part. Like, he just was waiting, like he's fishing, you know what I mean? And like, I brought the bass, you know, like, hey man, I got a bass here. You want to see it? And he's like, yeah. And he shut the door in my face. Yeah. So I had no idea he was going to fillet it.
Looking at his watch like, oh, she's got room for more.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Honestly, for 20 minutes, I thought she was just a huge fan, and they were just talking about life. And then after that, I was like, yeah, I think they're doing it.
You might not have seen it coming, but she sure the hell did.
Yeah, I got her on the bus though.
And a year later, you're at his concert, and you're like, yeah, this song sounds familiar. Love at the Fair. God, I know that girl. I think I do.
All I envision is Gary being like, hey, who's that guy out there? And she's like, him? I don't know him. He's a loser. Who cares? You know, like the whole time she's like, I don't know that guy. He's a weirdo. He's been creeping on me. And he's like, well, you can stay on my bus for a while until he leaves. You know? God dang it.
Have you ever thought about, I think about this all the time. Have you ever thought about all the now mothers, probably some even grandmothers, that were groupies when groupies were a thing? I mean, women in the 80s going to a rock show had really one thing in mind. That's to sleep with the band. And the band had one thing in mind after the show, was to sleep with a or numerous women. Those women are our parents. And you don't see stories of like this Diddy stuff, freak shows. I mean, these guys were freak showing it way before. I mean, they weren't doing, the horrible things that Diddy did, allegedly, but they don't talk about it. There's very few books. There's very few, like how there's not a documentary of my mom slept with an 80s rock star blows my mind, because they've kept it under wraps. They sure the hell didn't tell their husband when they met him. Right?
Well, back then the cameras were the size of a car. So like you couldn't like secretly record it. Right. And I think that it was just
story. How many people, like even in our audience, our select audience that's listening, bigger today because it's a Freebay episode, right? In this episode, there's probably at least 5% maybe of your mothers that in the 80s slept with a musician.
Oh, I'd say it's 5% of listeners, like people our age. I know girls that are in their 30s that did it, and they're proud of it. And they'll be like, yeah, hey, you ever heard of so-and-so? I slept with him. And it's like, what?
Yeah, but I'm not talking about 30s. I'm talking about what they've become. It's like our mother.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a woman in her 60s or 70s or 50s, the boy band days. Oh my God, dude, those boy bands ran. Like I've been backstage at Backstreet Boys concerts, and not necessarily bad on Backstreet because not all of them were like that. But I know the stories. I saw the girls come back there. They would do anything. It was Beatles-esque, right? I mean, it was absolutely nuts. So those then women are now parents. They're in their 40s and 50s and 60s. They don't talk about it. That's like the one thing that women, as they've gotten older, I never hear about. Like very rarely, like when I was on the radio, would get a call if I'd bring up this conversation, just try like, all right, I'm going out on a limb here. I want to see if I can find somebody in the audience. And every once in a while you'd get somebody. There was a woman I remember in Atlanta that, had some great stories of bands from I think like the 60s and 70s that she was sleeping with. But there is a large percent. I mean, just do the math. Okay. Go through the 80s and all of the hair metal bands that toured. Okay. Poison, the Def Leppards, even let's throw in GNR, even though I don't think
Twisted Sister,
just Bon Jovi, just name, even though John Bon Jovi, I think was pretty good because he's been with the same woman since high school, but just all these different bands every night, they're doing a show for X amount of years and they're sleeping with a woman every show. So do the math on how many bastard kids are out there that don't know that their dad used to be the keyboardist in Foreigner, or whatever, right? And your mom never told you that story. That is to me, that's mind blowing. And I'm so intrigued. If I knew how to do a documentary and I knew somebody that could put it together, that's what it would be about.
I met a guy in 97 and his last name was McKenna. I can't remember his first name. And it took him like an hour before he would tell you the story of him at Woodstock and he licked Janis Joplin's nipple. And he was like, he was so proud of it. And he'd be like, within every hour of talking to this guy, he'd be like, yeah. So anyway, I was at Woodstock. Do you know that? And you're like, no. He's like, yep. Licked Janis Joplin's nipple. And I'm like, whoa, what? And he's like, oh yeah. I said, so you went backstage? He's like, oh no, she was surfing the crowd and her nipple fell out. So I licked it. I'm like, what? Like that, but he was so proud of it. And so that's why I think guys are different, right? Like if you have a friend or any guy and they're like, imagine, I'm just going to throw it like Sheryl Crow, right? She's pretty, she's been touring for a long time. If she did that, oh my God, every guy would talk about it. But women are different. They don't do that. So that's why I think it's okay, man. I mean, these guys, like, they do their thing and these girls keep their mouth shut.
What do you think the percentage is?
Of how many women have done it or how many women talk about it?
Like alive?
Yeah, if they're alive. What do you think the percentage is of mothers and now grandmothers that had sex with an 80s hair band, anybody in the band, including the roadies, and just have never told a soul? Maybe their close girlfriend, but they definitely haven't told their kids and they definitely haven't told their husbands.
5%.
Okay, so 5%.
Yeah, probably somewhere around there.
Okay, so how many do you think are out there
now?
Oh, probably like
at least 100,000.
Yeah, I mean a lot, right? A lot. So if you were to go to a bar for a happy hour where the, melty face women hang out, those in the 50s and 60s. In that bar, you're at least going to find probably 5 women that 30 years prior had sex with an 80s hairband, and they've never told a soul.
Is it bad to say that if they're a melty face and they're in a bar in their 50s or 60s, that percentage goes up significantly? Like I would be surprised if they hadn't. Like if you're 65 and you're at the bar all alone, enjoying your glass of Pinot, 90% chance you slept with a bassist from Foreigner. You know what I mean? Like that's happening.
I just find this extremely intriguing that an entire decade of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, the 80s, all those women that slept with those rock bands now are mothers and grandmothers, and they're not bragging about that to their grandkids and sharing those stories. It's like life's best kept secret. How did these guys do it and keep it under wraps when you have now stories of guys like P. Diddy? It's like an Epstein list of people that attended his freak show parties. But in the 80s, you had women showing their boobs out in public and going, hey, do anything you want to me afterwards. Knock me. Probably a lot of these kids are the kids of these rock stars.
Little Ace Frehley's all over the place.
And that intrigues me. I would want to know if my grandmother had the train run on her from an 80s rock band.
No, you don't.
Or a song made about her, like AC/DC's, where they have the Black Train tour or something. Yeah, it's about my grandmother. Yep, it's about my grandmother. She was very popular amongst the band.
Brandon's over here like, man, I wonder if my grandmother ever slept with 3 doors down.
Well, not only is Brandon asking that question, but a lot of people listening right now are asking that same question too. Now, if she's got a tattoo of that band, chances are, yep.
Brandon, you should have asked that old lady you slept with.
Oh yeah,
you might have been in the same place as Paul McCartney and you didn't even know it.
That's why I did it. I like history. A lot of people have been in and out of there. A lot dead. Probably some war veterans too. They're probably in the war. Came home. Banged her. Now here I am.
You know the name Chuck Yeager? She's like, oh, me and Chuck. We had some times together.
He said he was going to take me up right to the edge of space, but he never did it. But that was a good line. I really believed him. He said, hey, wait here in the hangar naked, and I'll get back to you. Brandon doesn't know who Chuck Yeager is. So.
No.
You don't?
No.
Are you serious, dude?
Dude, what is it? Clearly it's not important.
He's the first man that broke the sound barrier.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, Chuck Yeager's a big deal.
Yeah, cool.
Oh my God.
You don't have to get angry because you don't know history. Just learn it. Just say, I don't know, and I would like to listen. That's all. I hate when people that discount are like, oh, I don't care. Why would I know? I'm 26 years old. Do you know who George Washington is? Well, of course. Well, what the fuck's the difference?
The beef going on between Kendrick and Drake. You're like, I don't care. This is actually current news, not Chuck Yeager flew a fucking plane 100 years ago.
Wait. You think you're comparing Chuck Yeager breaking the sound barrier to the beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake?
I'm sure a lot more people know about it.
Oh my God.
You go to a high school and ask, who Chuck Yeager is, or you go and ask him, do you know Kendrick or Drake? They're like, oh, I know. What's going on with that? They'll tell you. Chuck Yeager, be like, I don't know. Sounds like fucking some dumbass's liquor.
Well, I hope you're not going to a high school. Let's start there. Okay.
That's who runs the culture. That's where the culture.
He's like, my friends in ninth grade. My friends in ninth grade, man. They know all that.
It's all for the high school. That's how everyone. That's the culture is for the high schoolers.
Dude, I was at the Fish Under the Sea dance the other day, and that's all they were talking about.
Fish Under the Sea. You're so old.
That's what I can tell you. Back to the Future. It's like,
Under the Sea. I like that's your pull. Like,
hey, Marvin, you looking for that new sound, Marvin?
I think it was Enchantment.
Well, so again, misquoted from what I said about the Kendrick Lamar. So let's make sure we get the words right. Don't quote me unless you quote me correctly.
I didn't quote.
I said, personally, I don't care, but I can appreciate that you do care. I did say that. Okay.
Well, when you say I don't care, I know you mean personally because you're saying it yourself. So I'm saying.
No. I talk in generals a lot. That's why I was specific in saying to the people that do care, I can respect that because that's your thing. That's what I was saying. Just like I said to you, I know you're really into it and you care. Me personally, I think it's silly, but I respect that that's what you're into. Okay. So that's what I was saying. But you made it sound like everybody that's into something that I don't care about, I discount. That's not true. I respect it. You like that kind of music? That's good. Like, like Kid Rock said on Bill Maher, he goes, hey, look, the guy's got his own style. He's got his own thing. You got to respect that as an artist. He goes, it's not my thing. I don't get it, but he's an artist. That's what I said. My mom asked me the other day, she's again, 76 years old. She goes, what did you think of that halftime show? And I said, well, there's a couple ways to answer that. I think if you're going to be fair. And she goes, me and my friends thought it was horrible. And I said, of course you did. You're old women, white women in your 70s. I was like, it's not made for you. I said, so she goes, well, what do you think? And I said, well, it's not made for me either. I said, from a personal standpoint, I thought it was horrible. Like, that's just personally not my thing. I said, from an artist standpoint, the guy's obviously doing something well because he was picked to do the Super Bowl. Now, do I think that it's a little shady that Jay-Z's got control of the Super Bowl and there's politics and all that stuff involved? Absolutely. But as an artist, he's obviously doing something well, and you're not going to turn down that opportunity if given. You're performing in front of more people than you'll ever perform in front of in your career at one time. That's fact, right? With all those eyes on you. If you're getting ready to launch a tour or a new album or just have people know who you are, you're not going to turn it down. So from that standpoint, all the power to you, brother. You do your thing. You know what I mean? So there's different ways to answer that question. I used to be the guy, truth be told, that I would shut it down. That's stupid. That's dumb. It was not my thing, right? And I would do that for a reaction and that kind of thing. But I don't think that's fair. I just don't think that's fair. Now, from a business standpoint, do I think it was good for the NFL? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I would say the same thing if they just had one artist.
Well, you would also say the same thing, and I don't know who yours is, but like Dave Matthews Band. Like if they had Dave Matthews playing the Super Bowl, I'd be like, that sucked. That was terrible. That's not my jam, right? Like that's not my thing. But I agree with you. You got to target an audience. You can't find one band that everybody's going to love. The Kendrick Lamar people are not going to love Guns N' Roses. It's just not going to happen, right? The Guns N' Roses fans aren't going to love Dave Matthews Band. So I get it, but when people say that was a terrible show, it's not about the music. It's not about the genre. It's about, what's the word? The show, the entertainment. It wasn't there. He walked 256 yards, which is more than the Chiefs got in total offense. He walked 256 yards. And at the end, it was like, well, where was the show? I want to be impressed. I want to be blown away. I think Prince did a good job. There was a Lady Gaga did a very good job. They do this thing with like jumping off the roof and things like that. And remember, Tom Cruise came in one year and did his thing. There was just no show. So that's where I think a lot of the argument is it wasn't entertaining.
And you're also missing that you couldn't understand anything he said.
Nothing.
So, I mean, you have to know the lyrics to the song. I mean, there's no arguing that. You could not understand anything the guy said. I mean, that's fact too. I mean, just watch the show. So from a understanding what he's saying standpoint, that's an issue.
Brandon, did you understand what he said?
Yeah, I did. I mean, live performances are always terrible. I mean, I hate live music. You can't hear them anyway.
No, they're not. That's
I've
not
never
true.
been to
That's
one
not
live
a true
show
statement.
besides Motley Crue. They put on a good show, like you were saying, but the sound is always just doesn't sound as good to me. So I'm not a fan of live performances to begin with, but I did know what he was saying. Yeah, for the most part.
Because you know the lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't understand them without knowing the lyrics.
Well, I can't answer that because I already knew them.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, I did not know the lyrics and I did not understand a word he said.
Well, I'm saying that maybe if I didn't know the lyrics, but I maybe I would have understood them.
So next year's Super Bowl, you have a conundrum because the one band and their audience, their community that has been vocal for many years, they believe this band is deserving of the halftime show, has never played. And this would be the year, because of where it's going to happen, this would be the year for this band.
Hold on, where's it happening?
San Francisco. Well,
you're not gonna. Is it Pearl Jam?
No, Pearl Jam.
What? I don't know. You went north. Who's another? What's a San Francisco band? Grateful Dead are all dead.
Metallica.
Oh, They've never played a halftime show.
Nope, never played a halftime show. And so for years, there's always been the story, the online petition of Metallica. Metallica is more than deserving to play the halftime show. They're not just a heavy metal band, right? They are a mainstream audience band. But I would say the same thing. I think Metallica gets a little bit of a pass because of the backstory and where they're playing. Again, I believe that you should have an artist perform, not maybe the whole show, but an artist from that city perform on every halftime for the Super Bowl. I think that makes sense. Metallica, even as much of a fan as I am, it would be nice to see other artists join them. And I could see a Lady Gaga do it just because she's done stuff with Metallica before. Put in a rap guy with Metallica, put in a country guy with Metallica. That would be pretty cool. But that's
who joined Aerosmith.
Well, Aerosmith in 2000, I think Aerosmith's done it a couple times. Aerosmith in 2001, that's still my favorite halftime show. It was Aerosmith, NSYNC, Britney, Nelly. Was Missy Elliott on there too?
Wasn't like Run DMC with them or something?
No, I don't think Run DMC was. I know Nelly, NSYNC, Britney, Aerosmith, and I think there was another artist in there. That was cool. That was real cool. You know what I mean? I like a Kid Rock could collaborate with numerous artists. You know what I mean? Because you bring a little bit of different flavor and vibes and stuff. So that's why, again, even if it's an artist of mine, like I like Dave Matthews. You brought up Dave Matthews. I like Dave Matthews. Do I think Dave Matthews by themselves is the show for the halftime? No, absolutely not. You know what I mean? That would be, from a business standpoint, you're targeting Dave Matthews fans, which there's a lot of them out there. But is that the NFL crowd that you're trying to bring in? I don't think so.
No, I like the collab idea. I think you could even and to go back to Kendrick Lamar. I don't know anything about him, but if you put Kendrick Lamar with Metallica, I'm okay with it. At that point, I'm like, all right, this would be cool. It'd be cool to see.
I don't know. I saw Kendrick Lamar play with Imagine Dragons. Oof.
Oh,
I said the same thing.
They're pretty bad.
I said the same thing when they performed with Imagine Dragons. Couldn't understand a word he was saying. I had no idea what the guy was saying. I think I saw that it was at the award show that I was at. I don't even know what he's saying. So
the only person I know is going to be there is Post Malone because apparently he's everywhere. Like, yeah, he's got to be in every show, no matter what it is.
That guy's everywhere.
There's Post.
Yeah, he's everywhere, and he just pops up. He's not even like marketed. He's like, here he is, Post Malone. He's doing his thing. Before we wrap this up, I wanted to bring this up because I said in yesterday's episode that during the What's Up Chuck, that Chuck he was bitching and complaining because he's got all this stuff that he's got to get done with his teeth, and they want to charge him like an arm and a leg because of the insurance and whatnot, and how much of a work it is and a ripoff and a scam it is with the doctors. And I told you, I agree. And it was funny that you brought it up because I have a very similar story that happened to me this past week, or actually the other week. So I've finally gotten settled enough, and I've got my insurance, even though I've gone back and forth with a few different ones. And I'm like, okay, I've got to get my doctor, my general practitioner. I've got to get a dentist, got to go in and get my teeth clean. And I've got to go to a dermatologist. I'm terrified of getting skin cancer. So I go to a dermatologist once every 6 months. And this stems from my buddy when I was back in college dying of melanoma at 22. Scarred, absolutely PTSD from skin cancer. And I've had like 12 different holes put in my body, Mohs surgery. I got scars on my head. I got divots in my arm and my shoulder. I just put holes in me all you want. Just get it out of my body. So I finally took a day and I go on to the United Healthcare website, was the insurance I have, and they, you put in general family doctor, and it gives you a list. I go through 6 of them until I can find somebody that wants to take as a new patient. So I find somebody. We can't see you until April. Jesus. Okay, whatever. At least I'm on the calendar. I'll see you in April. I go to the dentist. Same thing. Can't see you until April. Okay, that's fine. I don't have time to bitch about this. I'll see you in April. Okay. The dermatologist, I'm like, well, I could probably get in there pretty quick. So I called the dermatologist. Dermatologist's like, hey, we can see you next week. I'm like, great. Fantastic. Thank you. So I schedule an appointment. The day before my dermatologist's appointment, I get a phone call from them that I don't listen to until 7:00 that night, the day before I'm going in. That says, "Hi, Mr. Bailey. Just wanted to remind you got an appointment tomorrow morning at 8:30. Just wanted to remind you that you make sure you bring your this and this and that, and also your referral from your doctor." Referral? What do you need a referral for? I've never needed a referral to see a dermatologist before. And why are you now telling me this? Now, granted, I should have probably listened to the voicemail before. They called it like 3:00 in the afternoon, but I didn't. So now business is closed and I got to find a referral, which is impossible because I don't have a doctor.
But what's a referral for? I mean, you got skin.
I have no idea. I've never, I guess it's some like new thing with United Healthcare. I've got an HMO, which the reason why it's cheaper is because any specialist that you go to, you need a referral. What does that tell you? What does that mean? That means that you have to go to your doctor, pay your copay for them to say, okay, you can go to that thing.
Yeah, that's a mole. That's a mole. Yep.
That's all I mean. They don't even look at it. They just say, okay. And to my point is, so I talked to them the next day, the dermatologist people, and I say, I don't have a referral. I was supposed to have an appointment. I go, this is ridiculous. I've never had this before. They're like, well, those are rules. Those are the rules. I said, I don't know what to do. They're like, well, go see your doctor. I'm like, I'm trying to explain to you. I just moved back into town. I can't get an appointment. I would love to go see the doctor today, but they can't take me till April. This is not a me thing. This is a y'all's thing. So I guess I'll have to wait. And I say to the lady, I go, I hope I don't die between now and then.
Yeah. Yeah. You were on I think it was before we streamed last week.
You want to know what her response was? You want to guess what her response was?
That would be bad.
She laughed at me. She laughed at me. The dermatologist, after not being able to take me because I don't have a referral from my doctor, who I can't see until April, not my fault. I said, well, I guess I'll see you after that. I hope I don't die before then, which you never know. You could, right?
Yep.
She goes, I doubt that. How do you know that? Like,
well, maybe because the statistics are a little crazy. It's like, oh man, the odds of you being one of 8,430 people to die this year are really low. That's maybe what she's thinking.
Where'd you get those statistics?
He Googled it. He had
Googled
it.
What is it? 1 out of what?
It says in the United States, about 8,430 people are expected to die from melanoma in 2025.
Well, that's the kind of luck I have.
60,000 died worldwide in 2022. Yeah. So you got the people in the rest of the world that died.
So like they moved my colonoscopy till April. April must be a very popular month amongst medical profession, but they moved it and I was pissed. And Megan said, well, if something happens to you, we can probably sue. And I'm like, I don't want to sue. I want to live. Like, what are you talking about? You know, she's over here like, oh, that's probably a lawsuit, you know? And I'm like, what? So I don't understand the medical. I mean, I guess I do. You're saying you're putting into good perspective, right? It's all about money. They want the copay.
All about money. Because
they're not getting paid from insurance companies the way they bill. Like if they bill the insurance company 1,000, they get 600. They just got to eat it. But at the end of the road, it's killing people, dude. Like I would love to get a colonoscopy and be like, yeah, dude, you're good to go. But that's my biggest fear too. Your dermatology thing is like my butt thing. Like I'm sitting here going, dude, I just want a clean bill of health. Like I just want to go in, the doctor go, man, your butt looks great. You know what I mean? Like same thing with your skin. You want to go in, the doctor be like, you know what, Jason, I don't see anything wrong. We don't need to cut anything off of you, but thank you for getting naked in front of me. But they just won't do it. And it's driving me crazy. We need to change healthcare in America. We need to turn into England or something.
That's what ORFK is trying to do for you.
I wish you would hurry.
So the story gets even better is I'm like, I'm going to find a workaround. So I have doctors from other places that were my doctor, like doctor in California, doctor in Georgia. So I call and leave a message for both. Neither one of them answer. Still to this day, I have not received a call back from the doctor.
As soon as you moved, they blocked you.
Still to this day, I've not received a call back from them.
What's the violation if you forge a letter?
Well, you need
prison.
I don't know. So I get the doctor in Georgia, who I was never a fan of. just a horrible office, but they took TRICARE for Rach, and it was convenient, and I just dealt with it because I didn't want to find another one. They call me back, and I said, hey, look, I need a favor. Like, what's that? And I said, I don't live there anymore. And they're like, yeah, we see that you haven't been in 2 years. I said, yeah, but I need you to give me a referral. That shouldn't be that big of a deal because I got to get into the dermatologist and they want a referral. I've been going to you guys for years prior to me moving. I don't see why this is a big deal. And they're like, well, the doctor would want to see you. I said, did you not understand what I just said? I don't live there anymore. Can you not write me a referral? Why is this a big deal? And they said, well, why don't you do a teledoc? I said, that's fine. I'll do a teledoc. That's no big deal. And they're like, okay, we can set that up. I'm like, can you set it up today? And then give me a referral. Like, yeah, sure.
First things in April, sir.
Right. And I said, well, just out of curiosity, how much is this? I mean, my insurance is going to cover it, right? $100. $100. It's like a copay is like 20. Why is this $100? I can't answer that. It's going to, so you want me to pay you $100? Cause I've done these teledoc things before. You literally get on and they do nothing. I've been on them. I've talked to what looked like a 12-year-old guy that goes, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll prescribe you that. Not a problem. Where do you want me to send it to you? You know, you'll be billed $30. Talk to you later. It's absolutely pointless. I mean, it's such a scam. Like, fuck you, man. I'm not paying you $100.
Shut up.
Absolutely. Fuck them. I am not paying them $100.
So you didn't do it?
No, I'm going to die. I want to.
I was going to say, what if you die?
I would rather die than pay you $100 just out of principle. And then I wrote down on my desk, I wrote a letter. I said, dear healthcare people, if I die before April, when I get to go see my doctor, since I have to have a referral to go see the dermatologist, I want you, and I filled in their names, to know that it's your fault that I died because you wouldn't see me because you wanted to scam me out of a stupid fucking copay, you horrible, unethical people. And I got the letter on my desk right now, and Rachel knows where it's at.
What if there was a doctor's office an hour away that said, we'll give you the letter, but you got to come pick it up? Would you do it?
Why can't you just email it to me?
Nope. They say you got to pick it up in person. You got to come get the hard copy. Would you do it?
An hour away?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a short hour?
Nope. It's a long hour, and it's through Orlando.
Ooh, like
on a Saturday, like during the amusement parks. And you got to be there by 9 a.m.
Are there restaurants nearby?
Nope. And it's not a nice area either, but
Just
it's free.
homeless
But they're going to give you the letter for free, but it's got to be a hard copy.
Well, I've got family over there. They could pick it up for me.
Yeah. The point is your time and your energy to get that letter for free is probably worth more than $100. So you should have just paid the $100 and had the little kid prescribe you or send you the referral.
No, this was freaking, let me help you with your Dell operator. You know, this is Amazon support. And it's made me even more mad.
$100, man. I'll pay $100 for, like, if I found a hygienist tomorrow that said, hey, I'll give you a letter saying you got a deep clean, but I'm not going to do it. I'd give her $100. You know what I mean? But it's just 1,000 is when I'm like, this sucks. So I think you just need to find somebody, pay the $100 and go save your life.
No, I got my doctor's appointment moved up, and I found a different dermatologist. So they're getting
you showed them.
I did.
He's like, and I found a different one.
Yeah. And so I'm going to call them when I'm done, and I'm going to ask if I can send a picture to them of me going there.
You know how many moles I got removed? 6. And they could have been yours.
I'm going to leave a Google review. That's what I'm going to do.
Ooh,
a bad one.
That's how you get them.
Yeah.
A good one, Brandon. Dummy. You said a bad one? So stupid.
These people were great. They wouldn't get me in for 2 months, and she laughed at me when I said I was going to die. They're fantastic. 5 stars.
Bad one.
Don't forget, win Bailey's booty for you Freebay listeners. If you want $100, just subscribe to the podcast. That's all you got to do. You get the unlocked episodes on Spotify, thousands of hours of content. So if you're a big podcast listener and you jump around different podcasts and whatnot, there's more to this show than just Wednesday's show. So hopefully you'll subscribe, and then once a month, this rolling promotion. We'll do the old spinner wheel thing, and I'll post it, and then we'll give out $100, and you can win more than once. Just make sure you keep listening and check your email and check our social media because it's going to be posted there and you'll have 24 hours to get a hold of me so I can get you your $100. All right. Chuck, you got anything before we get out?
Yeah, healthcare is broken, but if you want to leave a good Google review for any of these offices, they would love it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Brandon.
The back of the bus got ripped off.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. It was cool. Though. I liked it. That was neat. All right. Give us a like, share, follow on all social, please. At Listen to the BS. I know not everybody does. So what are you waiting for? Please. We'd love to have the followers at Listen to the BS and hit that little bell up top so you get notifications so you can like and comment on all the content that we put out there. At The Bailey Show on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Once again, we can't do this without you and our subscribers. If you are a business and are interested in jumping into the digital/podcast world, please let me explain it to you before you go and blow thousands of dollars on traditional advertising. Let me explain how this works. Not saying that that doesn't work. I'm just saying that this does work. Ask any of our sponsors. Reach out to me. You can get my information on thebaileyshow.com. We've got the podcast. We've got the live stream every Tuesday night on Twitch at The Bailey Show Pod if you ever want to join us. And then we've got the radio show where the show is a condensed version of the podcast is put on JRR in Orlando Saturday mornings and Planet Radio in Jacksonville Saturday mornings. All right. Thanks for the support. Thanks for listening. Have yourself a great, safe rest of your day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Till next time, check out thebaileyshow.com. Make sure you like, share, follow on all socials. I leave you with these parting words.
Never got a pink slip either. You know what I would get? A guy would come around to my desk and say, "Get the fuck out of here!"
What do we want to talk about?
Subscribe at thebaileyshow.com.
Yeah, baby.